Hi everybody, and welcome to Once Upon a Scarf. This channel is all about great vintage scarves. Who designed them, what inspired them, and how to wear them. Today we have a doozy. It's a very old scarf, likely dating to the late 1950s, by French designer Jacques Fath, which portrays a lovely young woman who is possibly having the worst hair day of all time. It literally explodes off her head in a maelstrom of brushstrokes, unkempt, unmanageable, and untamed. So what's going on here? Why would a grand couturier, known for his elegant fashion, who dressed some of the most exacting clients in the world, put out a scarf that's deliberately Antifa? In this case meaning anti-fashion, at a time when that just wasn't done. To answer that question, it may help to take a closer look at Jacques Fath himself, who had a certain, shall we say, personal flamboyance, as we see here. He was happily married to one of his female models, and they formed a great partnership, yet all evidence gave of a man who was rebellious against the more conservative mores of his time. This played out especially in his grand costume balls, which were attended by Paris's rich, famous, and fabulous, including Dior, Dali, and so many more. One of those figures was one of the greatest Surrealist artists in the history of French painting, though she never fully accepted that label. I say she, and if I tell you her name, it will probably be unfamiliar. Leonor Feeney. You may not know Leonor, but I promise you all of Paris, Rome, and even the tonier parts of Manhattan did back in the day. First and foremost for her artworks, stunning paintings of female heroes and anti-heroes, always in a position of power and control. Feeney was collected and shown in galleries far and wide, but for some reason her reputation and her notoriety has dwindled. Perhaps because she is no longer personally present, and her persona was as much of an artwork as her canvases. One of her admirers described her outward presence thusly before meeting her in a gallery showing her work. I smelled something like an almost solid column of perfume. It was a very strong perfume, which I found very beautiful. I followed the trace of the perfume because obviously Leonor had arrived before me. I think we've all met women like that, true divas who thrive for attention and revolt against convention, usually at the same time. She and Jacques Fath were soulmates and collaborators, artistes who recognized each other's outlandish genius. Feeney the artist surely inspired Fath the couturier with her personal style, which, shall we say, was over the top. She'd wear prostitutes' striped stockings, huge velvet cloaks, insanely feathered costumes, and this was in normal life, never mind what she wore to the costume balls that were all the rage in post-war Paris. Her trademark in art and life was hair, massive bouffes bumped up with feathers, bones, nests, you name it. Leonor lived with 14 Persian cats and 2 handsome young men. I'm pretty sure she did a crazy cat scarf as well, and I link to it above. But she was an artist, and artists always needed money. I'm convinced she designed this and many other scarves for Jacques Fath, unsigned, perhaps out of friendship, perhaps out of need. And viewed through that filter, created by a painter who was in effect a female Samson, whose seductive powers partway resided in her mane. This scarf begins to make sense. This is not a bad hair day. This is a triumphant hair day for sphinxes, medusas, gorgons, and other females whose power issues from their tresses. It's Leonor Feeney's celebration and warning. Don't even think of taking advantage of me, mister, because I'm smarter, stronger, more mysterious, and more magical than your sweet little girls with their frizz under lock and key. I will bewitch you. My bad day may be your worst or your best. Come hither and try me. if you dare. And that's today's scarf story. I hope you enjoyed it. Please hit the usual buttons to hear more.